In summary, we Muslims have a long and glorious history and heritage in America. We are not Johnny-come-lately to America. We've been there all along.
The history of Muslims in America goes back a long way.
Many people may be quite surprised to learn that there were Muslims in the land we now call America before the European explorers, and certainly before the English colonists.
Muslim geographers and historians were mapping the Americas long before Christopher Columbus. In the 10th century, Al-Mas'udi, who wrote a famous book, Muruj al-Dahab, he described many parts of the world, and he also described America. He called America Ard Majhula, unknown territory. It was in 957 that the oldest map of the Americas was drawn by Al-Mas'udi. This was an age of early contact, and it is well recorded within the books of Islamic history and geography.
For hundreds of years, Jews, Christians, and Muslims, and atheists lived together, debated God, debated religion.
In those years of enlightenment, Muslims helped create advanced math like algebra, advanced medicine like the concept of contagious disease. And by some accounts, there were Muslims in the crew, arriving in America on the Niña Pinta Santa Maria.
Muslims have been in this country since Columbus.
We do know that Thomas Jefferson specifically included Islam when urging protection of religious freedom.
This is a country that was founded with a Bill of Rights, and I personally believe that those rights are very much within the spirit of Islam. And this is one of the few countries in the world where people do enjoy those rights.
I think Muslims will be surprised the similarities between the American ideal and some of the values that Islam has that are time-honored. One of them is a sense of independence. The original founders of Islam were fiercely independent-minded people. They have some of the things that remind me of the founding fathers of America, and I'm not comparing them in terms of their religiosity. But the founding fathers of this country were very independent. They were ready to wage a war to separate from England, and they did. So that independent spirit did not go. I think you still have that here.
Democracy, values, family, all the things that we talk about here in a democracy or here in the West are exactly that of Muslims. And as a matter of fact, Muslims are more free here in this country to express themselves as being Muslims than even in the Middle East.
After the establishment of the United States of America as an independent and democratic nation, a new struggle began.
The majority of slaves who came to North America came from places that were Muslim then and are Muslim today. Hundreds of millions of Africans, through the intervening decades and generations of enslavement in America, had their culture, their great noble history and legacy, their language, their religion systematically removed from them.
$7,000 of U.S. military troops are Muslim, fighting around the world for the American dream.
Sometimes you'll come across people that will think that because you're Muslim, you're anti-American, or that you're not patriotic. We're extremely patriotic. My father served in the Coast Guard for 20 years. We love our country.
My grandfather from my mother's side served in World War II. He was actually a resident in Boston. That's where she was born.
That's where my family was from.
And he actually volunteered. He enlisted to fight with the Allies out of Boston. And he was actually wounded.
American Muslims contributed to America by reminding our country of its own principles of liberty and justice for all.
To be a human being, to be respected as a human being.
American Muslims have contributed to America through their varied professions as doctors, teachers, architects, lawyers, and soldiers.
We help build America, and our heritage as Americans is firm for all Muslims.
It is estimated that over 8 million Muslims live in the United States. They come from all social demographics and contribute to American society in many ways.
The American Muslim community is, in fact, international in a place like the United States. Ethnically, you've got Arabs, you've got South Asians, Southeast Asians, you've got Africans, you've got Central Asians, you've got Turks. So you've got an enormous diversity.
The second generation of Muslims in America are undergoing a severe identity crisis. And that identity crisis is, how do I affirm my national cultural identity as an American and at the same time affirm my religious identity as a Muslim? And these kids are being raised in America. It doesn't matter where their parents are from. The parents can be from Pakistan or Syria or wherever. The kids are being raised in America, and they're going to establish an American national cultural identity, regardless of how much their parents hate that.
The big problem that Muslims of immigrant experience have in this country is their parents misassociating certain ethics of the Quran, ethics of Islam with the ethnicity. So they, in their attempt to help their kids grow up morally, what they do is strive to preserve the ethnicity that they have and they want to bequeath to you. Unfortunately for the kids, they don't pick up on that. What they get is only a certain sense of Arabness or Indianness, but they forget that there's an overall ethic that they're trying to portray.
The problem that we face is that many of our immigrant brothers and sisters to America try to tie their home culture so tightly to Islam that when these kids end up rejecting the identity of being a Syrian or a Pakistani or what have you in favor of an American identity, they also end up rejecting Islam because the two have been tied together so tightly. This is why I wrote the book that I wrote in the first place, was because I wanted to give that second generation of Muslims in America, the youth of America, the knowledge that yes, we have been here all along. There's nothing contradictory about being an American and being a Muslim. And we have a heritage. Don't let anyone try to rob you of part of your identity because you're a Muslim.
Being a Muslim in America, in my opinion, doesn't make me any different than anyone else.
I grew up in the United States. I've never, lived anywhere else. I don't know what other identity I could have.
As a profession, what I do for a living, I'm a race car driver. As a person, I'm a Pakistani American, a Muslim American living in the United States, racing cars, living the American dream.
And there is this. Miss USA is a Muslim. So are these NFL players.
My name is Kateva Alsai. I'm a United States Park Police officer.
My name is Charlene Elder. I sit here in Dearborn as a magistrate in the 19th District Court. As a Muslim, I have no limits, and I'm very proud to hold this position and to try to provide understanding for my community and let people know that who we are and understand us a little better. We're just like everybody else.
I'm a mayor of Teaneck, New Jersey. I'm in corporate finance.
We have a jewelry line.
And as a population, according to one survey, American Muslims have twice the college degrees of the average.
I want to be a teacher when I grow up. Soccer player. A scientist. I want to be a doctor.
And we remember on the day the Twin Towers fell, Farouk Muhammad was working for the New York City Fire Department.
There were Muslims like me there, and some that died. trying to help others, and we're American just like other Americans.
After 9/11, a lot of people thought being a Muslim in America might be a lot harder, and I really don't see it as being that much different. Most of the people that I've met and interacted with have been very concerned and have gone out of their way to say, we know that your average Muslim is not at all violent or interested in terrorism, and that they want to live their lives just like anybody else does, peacefully and happily.
My name is Amina Shirani and I'm in 3rd grade and I'm an American Muslim.
I am not afraid to stand alone. If Allah's by my side, I am not afraid to stand alone. Everything will be alright. I am not afraid to stand alone. Gonna keep my head up high. I'm not afraid to stand alone. If Allah's by my side, everything will be alright. Gonna keep my head up high. Not afraid to stand alone. If Allah's by my side, everything will be